Scots are coming!
Ultimate Strongman TV. Joining me now, it is the legend that is Andrew Cairney. Welcome, Andrew. At this point, I would normally say and give out all your titles, but there are too many to mention, so I'm going to let you do it.
So I am Andy Cairney, 2 times former Ultimate Scotland Strongest Man, UK's Strongest Man Master, and I am the head referee for Scotland's Strongest Man in Scotland.
The head honcho in Scotland, and you're the man we want to talk to. The UK Strongest Man comes to Scotland. Firstly, I'd like a reaction from you on that, Andrew.
Yeah, I'm delighted. I'm absolutely ecstatic. Glenn kept that one under his hat for a while, which is good for Glenn because you know he's a gobshite. But he did well keeping it a secret. The venue's fantastic. Obviously, we were there. Martin, you and myself were there for Scotland's Strongest Man, and it's going to be an absolute brilliant venue for UK's, for Channel 5 Live. It's going to be spectacular to have an event of that size and stature. And the homeland of Strongman, which is Scotland, as we all know, it's where it originates from. And the Scottish crowd are going to go crazy for it. We're going to have a sold-out Braehead Arena, and it's just going to be an absolutely incredible couple of weekends of Strongman.
Let's talk about Braehead, because I went there for the very first time. Actually, it was the second time. I'd done a site visit before, but I saw it, you know, in its working environment, if you like, with, you know, a crowd in there, and for Scotland's Strongest Man, and it looked absolutely fantastic. That Scottish atmosphere is pretty unique, Andrew.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really blessed that I only stayed 5 minutes from the venue, which is great for me because I've had to drive all the way down to Milton Keynes in the past. But it's just a nice venue. It's predominantly used for the ice hockey, which ironically enough, my wife's a huge fan of. She absolutely adores the ice hockey there. So I've only ever been, prior to the Strongman, to see ice hockey there. But it's just a good size for a Strongman crowd. It's not too big, it's not too small. The seating's great, the reverberation's great, the sound system's great, so we can all hear you doing your magic. And the place is electric. When the crowd cheer, it just gives you goosebumps. You know, it's a fantastic venue, and how good is Strongman right now? It's just to think where we've came in the sport. I mean, I used to go 20 years ago. I used to go over to Belfast and we'd film these things and the Odyssey and stuff. And now we've got sold out arenas on Channel 5 Live. I'm genuinely, I know this sounds cheesy, but I'm genuinely blown away how far the sport's came and the length of time that I've known you. And I'm absolutely blown away with just the platforms that these lifters, these strength athletes are getting to perform on now. It's a wee bit of me is jealous as well, but that's not in a bad way, but I was like, oh my God, I would have loved to have lifted in that stadium. I would have loved to have run up and down it with farmers and the crowd cheering your back, especially as a local Scot. It's going to be really, really exciting. And I honestly can't wait. I really can't wait.
It's lovely to hear the passion in your voice, because as you say, you competed at a different time when Strongman was in a different place, and going back to the likes of going to Belfast way back when, I can remember stories about how they would move the crowd round slightly for the TV shot, just so it would look, you know, like there was a massive crowd there.
Yeah, I remember going over to Belfast. I was there like 2006, 7, 8, 9. I think I was there for 4 years, whatever, and had a great time. And I lifted with some absolute legends, and it was fantastic. But I remember we'd do the TV show like September, and then you'd have to wait until Christmas before you could see yourself in the TV. Yeah. I'm like, oh, I remember one year I had a really good Viking press, and I won the Viking press, and I was so excited. So all my friends and family could see it on Channel 5, and we had to wait till Christmas. Now now people are getting to see it live. It's just fantastic. Some of the, I mean, Beefy and Callum Crozier and all these guys, there's going to be all their friends and family watching them, not only in the venue, but they're going to be watching them in real time live. That's just, how good is that? It's like, as cheesy as it sounds, it's like the FA Cup or the Olympics almost, live strongman, just incredible. I genuinely wouldn't have believed it if you'd have told me it 2 or 3 years ago. I'd have been like, nah, that's impossible. That's not going to happen.
Well, you mentioned live TV, and a lot of people said it couldn't be done. A lot of people thought it was just a rumour mill a couple of years ago when Ultimate Strongman come out with this massive, bold statement that they were going to put Strongman live on terrestrial TV for the very first time on Channel 5. And we did. And we did it again. In fact, we did it again and we did it twice over 2 weekends,
Yeah.
or 4 shows, if you like. And we do it again. How important is it for it to be live?
I mean, I think I'm going to reference some other platforms here, but I think that's what World's Strongest Man is falling behind now. And I'm not here to say anything derogatory about World's Strongest Man. I absolutely adore World's Strongest Man. But everything in life now is in technology. It's now, right here. I want it yesterday. And the fact that you can watch the Arnolds live and you can watch, I suppose all these comps, some of them pay-per-view, but obviously some of them on YouTube, the Rogue, the Arnold, and that, it's definitely the way the sport's moving. And I think that the fact that UK's is not only live, as in live on some kind of stream, but live on terrestrial TV. I think that trumps anything. I'm not just saying that. I think it trumps any other platform that Strongman's promoted on at the moment. To be live on terrestrial television, because people will go, "Why? What do you mean by that?" Is the fact of the matter is that we're Strongman fans, as we both know. So I'll go out my way to go watch like the Arnolds or the Rogue or whatever. I'll go out my way to go find the live stream or whatever. Whereas your average Joe, your average person just sitting on their TV on a Saturday afternoon will flick through the channels and go, "Wow, Strongman, gives a bit of that, bosh." And they'll sit and watch it. And it's so accessible. And that can only mean one thing, Martin: growth in the sport. Growth in the sport can only mean better venues, better facilities, better treatment of athletes, better prize money. And better prize money, better treatment of athletes means more people will come to the sport. More people comes to the sport, increases the overall standard. And that's when your deadlifts, your world records in the log and your deadlift will just grow exponentially, because more people, more money means the sport is just going to become huge. It's not a car park sport anymore.
No.
And don't get me wrong, I loved running around a car park
Yeah.
for a t-shirt and a trophy, and I'm very proud of those occasions. But it's amazing. Like people like Chris Beetham and Callum Crozier and all these other guys. And I'm sorry, I'm just referencing the Scottish guys. I know them personally.
No. That's what we're here to talk about. It's fine.
I mean, obviously, you've got fantastic athletes like Andrew Flynn and all that, and Paul Smith, who's an absolute gent, one of my really good friends. I really like Paul, and I hope he wins the title again, because he's an absolute proper top-notch guy. But these guys are almost becoming household names. You know what I mean? To give you an example from a personal point of view, I'm Liam Goldie's coach, the Golden Boy Liam Goldie. Liam had the pleasure of going to Channel 5 Live UK's earlier in the year, and he'd done a good job for his debut. He's only a young pup. He's very green, and he did a good job. But I know he's hungry to come back and do more. But he didn't even make the final, and he says he was walking around and getting into like a chip shop, and people are like, "Oh, I saw you on Channel 5," and giving him his food for free. So that's fantastic. I think strongmen should get the same treatment as non-say football players. Obviously not the ones from West Ham. I know you're a big West Ham fan, but but I think they should get the same. Can you imagine like Ultimate Strongmen getting on like TV shows and stuff like Celebrity Squares and all these things become that for me would be the pinnacle well, they become household names.
Yeah.
Like literally, people know them the way they do. You know, the best football players on the planet, and you know your David Beckhams and all these other guys. You see the superstar strongmen on, talk shows and stuff. That'd be fantastic.
Well, you got to remember as well. A year ago, we was on Gogglebox. I mean, it was Ultimate Strongman. The UK Strongest Man was featured on Gogglebox.
I
When has
know,
that ever happened?
and I think that had a big factor to play with where we're at now as well. Let's be honest about it,
Yeah,
But I mean, to summarise, it's so good to be involved in the sport right now. It's so good to be part of the Ultimate Strongman family. The sport's growing, the athletes are getting better, the events are fantastic, the venues are fantastic.
yeah,
It's just great. It's just great time to be involved in strongman. And I remember your wee videos when we were back in the days of sucked in barbell, and you were doing wee YouTube videos interviewing a very young Eddie Hall and all these guys, Terry Hollands, trying to get it more into the social, more into the kind of limelight and more
yeah.
into general public's knowledge. And look what we've done. And I say we because you've done a fantastic job. Obviously, you're the voice, Ultimate Strongman. I'm looking after Scotland for Glenn, and we should be proud of it, mate. We should really be proud of it because
You're the voice of Scotland.
yes, yes. But we should be proud of it because it's just a great time to be involved. I honestly hope that the strongmen that are coming through appreciate it. I
Yeah.
hope they appreciate it. They should, and I'm sure they will. But it's just incredible to see like four guys going head to head in a tire flip on Channel 5 Live in a packed out stadium, the crowd going crazy, kids loving it. That's all I think we ever wanted. That's the dream. That was what we wanted. We wanted our sport to be taken more seriously. We wanted a more professional platform, and I'm buzzing. I can't wait to Glasgow. It's going to be great. It's going to be
I,
great.
I can hear and I agree with everything you say, and especially about it being live on Channel 5 and it takes it out of just the niche strength sport
Yeah,
supporter, if you like, or fan, or generally you have to be involved in some way, shape, or form. You have to be a lifter yourself or into weights or whatever. This doesn't actually, you don't have to be going to the gym. You don't. This could be anyone sitting there with their kids on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon, and you're watching Ultimate Strongman and you're loving it, you're enjoying it. And I totally agree with something you said. It wins people to the sport, and that grows. That's infectious. It's just a snowball effect that keeps going on and on and on. And that is exactly where we want Strongman to be. And I totally agree with you, Andy, And I thank you for your
yeah,
comments back and referencing them videos back in the day, because that's exactly what I was trying to do. I was trying to go out there and I was trying to. I thought there was just something missing. There was a disconnect slightly between the lifter lifting to the person that was watching it. It just needed something else. And I brought a YouTube
yeah,
channel into play, which back then was, unheard of, and that's what we done, and like, but it was people like you, and credit to you. It was people like you, the reason I had things to talk about, it's like,
yeah.
and I never lifted. So I was accepted into the strongman family, but, through the back door, if you like, but I respected everyone that did. And probably that's why I always had the take on it that I always have had, because I've never claimed to be a strong man or do it. I'm in total admiration of everyone that does do it.
Yeah, maybe that's what we needed though. Maybe the sport needed someone from a third party perspective that wasn't a former strongman or a current strongman to go, look, I'm seeing this from a different perspective. I'm seeing this from a fan, and we're needing something here. We're needing there's communication problems with all the strongmen are fantastic athletes, but they're not marketing themselves properly. They're not
Mm.
getting the platform to market themselves properly. And the only way that this is going to grow is it has to be marketable. We need sponsors. We need Channel 5 to go, if we're going to invest all this money, we need people to watch it. And I genuinely believe that the average Joe public, like, literally right across the board, from grannies grandmas to 6-year-old kids love watching strongman because it's just simplistic and it's not complicated. Like you don't have to know. Like you don't have to know like to watch it. Like I'll give you an example. To watch snooker, you have to understand snooker, right? It's not that hard, but nonetheless, if you showed someone snooker for the first time ever and went, right, the red balls are one, and you can only put a coloured ball after. But with strongman, it's just four guys running with a bloody motorbike each shoulder. It looks incredible, and people understand strength more than they understand like technical ability is incredible. Like someone boshing a ping pong ball across the table at 100 mile an hour is unbelievable. But the average person could do that. Do you get what I mean? Like not
I
as
totally
good.
get it, yeah.
Yeah. But the average person can't pull a truck or a plane, or they can't flip a car, and that's what makes it mesmerising. And if something's mesmerising, they want to watch it, and that's what
Magical.
strongman's.
Yeah.
That's what strongman's got. That everybody can go play football. Everybody can. I mean, obviously not to this level of the top guys, but everybody can knock a ball around. But it's the wow factor of Jesus Christ. You know, look at those guys flip that giant tire. Oh my God, they're bending those bars over their knee and everything. So that's what makes it cool. And I think, like you said, it's took communication to catch up. Like now we've not got to, like back in the day it was terrestrial television, 3, 4, 5 channels. Now you've got like, you know, live streams, you've got YouTube, you've got everything there that makes it so much more accessible.
So talk to me about the qualifiers now. Talk to me about these, you know, the athletes that are coming through. Scotland, where is Scotland at the moment in regards to strongman? Is it in a good place?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I've been running the qualifier for a few years now, and it's just growing and growing and growing. Now the qualifier, the qualifiers, obviously its sole purpose is to make the final, but we do try and treat it like a standalone comp, and we do take care of the athletes. And I've, you know, in the past I've had lighting rigs and smoke machine and head-to-head battles and stuff. So I still try and make it a
A good show.
spectacle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try and make it a spectacle. Basically, the scores live online and everything. But the primary function for it obviously is to select the guys good enough to go to the final. So it's always been the case with this. I have to get the balance right, where I have to make it strong enough and heavy enough so that only the top guys will prevail. But at the same time, I can't make it so heavy that it puts people off.
Yeah.
So that's what I find as the promoter of the qualifier for the final, for Scotland's Strongest Man qualifier. I find that the thing is I need to select weights and events that mean that people can come in and try it, and that way they've got their foot in the door. It's like, for instance, a couple of guys that might not be in contention for the final, but once they get the qualifier under their belt, they're like, I'm back next year to make it. So that I find that the qualifier's grown like crazy. I think we run a pretty good qualifier. It's certainly not a car park competition, but I find it really helps that I've got a lot of background in the sport, because it's a lot of skill to select the weights and the events. And I also have to pick events that are relevant to the final as well, because if I say, right, guys, there's an incline log, as there was in the final or whatever, blah, blah, we need to do incline log. But then, as I say, it's the challenge is to make sure we get the right guys going to the final, and we're definitely increasing the pool of athletes, and the athletes are just fantastic. I mean, it was for a while, with the greatest respect, and I suppose this is a dig at me, but a lot of times the Scots were making up the numbers, and 15 years ago, England was just like Ireland, Wales, and Scotland couldn't get a look in. Like if it was the 8-man final in the old setup, 6 of those guys were English. You had Mark Westerby, Jimmy Marcoux, Terry Hollins, Lawrence Shahley, just absolute legends. And don't get me wrong, the English guys are just as good. Andrew Flynn, Paul Smith could hang with any of those guys I mentioned. But the sport grown in Scotland, and the confidence they get from seeing one of our own do well it's a weird thing. Like I try and explain. So I don't want to waffle, but
No,
again, to
please do.
reference
I'm
snooker.
enjoying it.
Strangely, two snooker references. Right. I quite enjoy a wee bit of snooker. But
I can tell.
one of my heroes. I'm not very good at it. One of my heroes was Stephen Hendry,
Yes.
snooker player. Now, Stephen, as a young boy, came out and became probably the greatest player of all time, up until say Ronnie O'Sullivan. Right, it was arguably still a debatable argument. But after Stephen Hendry broke through and was winning multiple world titles, then all of a sudden we got all these Scottish guys, John Higgins, Graham Dott, Alan McManus, and it was almost as if Stephen Hendry showed the way for the
Yeah.
rest
Broke
of.
the seal. Broke the seal on it
Yeah,
almost. Yeah.
I think in Strongman they say that it was Ollie Thompson and Mark Felix that started performing at a much higher level for the Brits guys, and that inspired Terry Hollands, Lon Shahley in the same way. So I think right now, because I mean, obviously Beefy almost won it last year. He was very unlucky, was our
It
Beefy.
was.
Very good.
And then Callum's coming through. So I think a lot of the Scots athletes have got a different attitude than what they used to have. Now it's like we're not scared of the
No.
English or the Irish or the Welsh anymore. And we always bring a good bunch of boys. And it's, Lewis Jack's a machine. Lewis Jack, if he can come back this year, Lewis Jack is a podium. I mean, in the last few years, we've had Lewis, Callum, and Beefy all on the podium. And then maybe with home advantage, who knows? Could we get our first UK strongest man winner since Paul Benton? Could we
Yeah.
get another Scottish winner? And that's good. And I think that crowd is. I know a barbell's a barbell, but you know yourself as a West Ham fan, West Ham at home are a much harder team to beat than West Ham on the road.
Yeah.
So
Home
I
advantage. Yeah.
definitely, yeah, I think I mean, we didn't touch on that, but Braehead Arena might be giving the Scots a bit of an advantage. I mean, most of them will probably be able to sleep in their own bed.
Yeah.
They don't have to travel. They won't be jet lagged.
I never thought of that, and you're absolutely
Yeah.
right. There's the travelling, there's the home advantage. I mean, you've been out there in the big arena yourself. Like
Yeah.
what would you, if you used to put a percentage on it? What percentage would it give you as an advantage?
Well, I mean, like to reference motorsport powerlifting, I've lifted 19 different countries. I've lifted in Argentina, Czech Republic, America. I was, all over the world. But it definitely has a big advantage if you can sleep in your own bed and keep your own routine, and you don't have to travel. Like for instance, when we were working at Milton Keynes, that was like a 7 hour drive
Yeah.
down there. And then you might go, oh, we'll get a plane, but then that's just as disruptive because you've got to then limited to what you can take. You've then got to sit around in airports, planes can get delayed. All these variables can affect an athlete's performance.
Yeah.
So a guy like Scott Mullen, my big friend Scott Mullen,
Love it.
Lewis Jack and stuff, these guys will literally be able to just stay, well, I mean, stay in their own gaffs and just drive to Braehead Arena. So that will be a factor for the Scots, and it could be that. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, right? I know this, but if Callum Crozier can keep progressing the way he's progressing, that's my dark horse for the title because
Yeah.
that is an absolute machine of a man, and I'm a big fan of Callum. And if he can keep consistent, as in if he can put the same progress in he did last year to this year, I honestly would not bet against him winning the title at Braehead. I would not bet against him. Paul Smith and Andrew Flynn are great lifters, as is Beefy. But honestly, when the boy's hot, man, he's got to be hard to beat.
He grows into a competition as well, doesn't he? You see his confidence.
Yeah.
You see his confidence grow from event 1 to event 5. His chest puffs out more. He just grows into it. He's got something about him. He has got that, and you would have seen that through your career as well. With different people. But
Yeah,
Callum's definitely
yeah.
got that.
I had the pleasure of emceeing his first ever competition when he was just a baby, and and he came to my gym earlier on in the year, and I had the world, the Scottish record in the silver dollar, and he stole it off me. I says to him, I says, I can't believe you came to my gym and took my record off me in front of my mum. And he says to me, he says, yep, I enjoyed doing it and I'll do it. I says, and I would do it again. I was like, thanks, Callum.
It's a dangerous game to play, but fair play to him.
Yeah.
I'm going to push you.
No.
Yeah. Sorry, UK Strongest Man, the final. Who's on that podium for you?
Well, it depends on the events. I love Paul Smith. I did say it earlier. He's a great guy. He's just a proper nice guy. He's very family friendly. He's very modest. He's very humble, and he's very deceptive. He does not look like he is as strong as he is. So I like Paul. Paul's a great guy. Andrew Flynn, you've got to think he's going to come back and try and defend his title.
Yep.
I thought him winning this year. Sorry, it was crazy. The guy barely made the final. He scraped his way into the final, and then the events were just good for him in the final. That's how close the sport's getting now.
Yeah.
You're not getting any. See the days of like Glenn winning 5-6 years in a row. Those days are gone now because the athletes are just too good, and the event, it can be literally one event can change a podium. But
right.
I would say Andrew Flynn, Paul Smith, and Callum Crozier wouldn't be a silly bet to put on. But I mean, Beefy's a great lad as well. I know there's a couple of good Welsh guys, but yeah, I think Flynn, Paul Smith, and Callum Crozier would be my bet just now. But it's a long way away. A lot of things could change you.
You're absolutely right there. There's a lot of training and a lot of competitions for a lot of these athletes in between. So we're going to have to see how that all goes for them. But Andrew, brilliant to talk to you. I've found it absolutely fascinating, mate. Some of the things you say as well, it really hit home to me, which is lovely to hear.
You're very welcome, Martin. It was an absolute pleasure. And I'll see you at Braehead Arena next year.
Braehead Arena, we'll make it a day. I'll see you then, Andrew. Thank you.
Bye, bro. Bye-bye.